No La Liga title, unless FC Barcelona completely collapses, as they sit top of the table with a 9-point lead and only 7 games left in the season. No Copa del Rey either, after a humiliating exit in the round of 16 against Albacete, a second division side. Not even the Spanish Super Cup, lost against their Catalan rivals, a defeat that accelerated the departure of Basque coach Xabi Alonso in early January. All that remains for Madrid fans is to cry, and to cling to the Champions League in order to keep dreaming. Even then, few truly believed in it last Friday after the draw against Girona, a match in which Mbappé finished with a bloodied face after an elbow from a defender. Is Florentino Perez under threat? At this point, it is hard to say who is under the most pressure this Wednesday in Munich. The French striker, still expected to play the savior role. His Brazilian teammate Vinicius Jr., who only truly shone when Mbappé was out injured and who still has not renewed his contract, set to expire in 2027. Or Madrid coach Álvaro Arbeloa, whose fate already seems sealed. Or perhaps, in reality, it is the untouchable president himself, Florentino Perez. Re-elected last year until 2029, the 79-year-old businessman bet heavily on Kylian Mbappé, who arrived in 2024 after more than 7 years of pursuit to fulfill his dream, and led a new era of European dominance for Real Madrid. Nearly 2 years later, however, the White House finds itself backed into a corner, an inconsistent team, lacking collective certainty. A squad of stars that often feels assembled more to sell shirts and fill stadiums than to build a truly dominant collective worthy of its ambitions. A defeat in Munich, and the humiliation of a second trophyless season, something not seen since 2005-06, would fully validate the failure of this new project. Back then, it led Perez to resign, taking responsibility for the collapse of his Galacticos project. We have a team with great players, but some believe their place is guaranteed and that they are the best. They are wrong, he said at the time. Today, it is hard not to see a parallel. Real Madrid is by far the biggest revenue-generating club in Europe, yet on the pitch, it is no longer winning. And Mbappé, who came to Spain to satisfy his hunger for glory and finally win both the Champions League and the Ballon d'Or, now finds himself singled out as the main culprit, while he is perhaps above all a victim of poor planning by the club's hierarchy. Without a turnaround in Munich, something still very much within Madrid's DNA, given their history of epic comebacks in their competition, there will be no trophy, no silverware, nothing to add to the club's already overflowing museum. Let's be clear, direct, and honest. If Real Madrid are enduring humiliating trophyless seasons, if the biggest club in the world is going through periods of emptiness, frustration, and sporting disappointment, then Kylian Mbappé carries a huge share of responsibility. Yes, a huge share. We are not talking about an ordinary player, not a young prospect learning the game, not a quiet squad player. We are talking about a man presented for years as the future king of world football, the heir to the greatest, the one meant to change the destiny of every club he joins. When a player accepts that status, demands that spotlight, and takes that position at the very top, then he must also accept the weight of criticism when everything collapses. At Real Madrid, when things fall apart, you don't hide behind others, you take responsibility. So what have we seen since his arrival? An unbalanced team, a broken collective, clashing egos, a confused attack, constant pressure around one name, and above all, trophies disappearing. Real Madrid do not sign superstars to participate, they sign them to dominate. They do not spend their sporting, financial, and media power to please social media. They do it to win titles. And if the titles don't come, questions arise. Who was supposed to take the team to the next level? Mbappé. Who was supposed to decide the biggest matches? Mbappé. Who was supposed to take responsibility when the team shakes? Mbappé. Who was supposed to turn fear into Madrid's certainty? Mbappé. So why the silence when accountability comes? Why so much protection around a player who was supposed to be judged like the greatest? Real Madrid legends were never protected by excuses. They were judged on trophies, finals, European nights, and their ability to win when pressure was at its peak. Cristiano Ronaldo was judged on goals, Benzema on historic campaigns, Sergio Ramos on decisive finals, Modric on control, Casillas on saves, and Mbappé? Should he be judged differently? Never. If Real Madrid end another trophyless season with Mbappé as the central figure, then he must answer for it. Because this club does not live on promises, it lives on results. We were sold a total phenomenon, but too often we have seen a player brilliant in bursts, absent at times, frustrated when the ball does not go through him, inconsistent in defensive effort, and unable to turn a talented squad into a winning machine. Statistics without trophies mean nothing in Madrid. Numbers without titles are empty decorations. This club has already seen artists. It demands winners. The uncomfortable truth is that Mbappé's arrival may have made Real Madrid more famous, but not necessarily stronger. And that is the core issue. When a superstar arrives with so much noise, he must leave silence behind him, the silence of defeated opponents. Not internal debates, tactical confusion, or constant questions about the system. How many times have we seen uncertainty about how to play, through him, for him, around him, or without him? How many times has Vinicius looked less free, Rodrigo less important, the midfield forced to compensate, the coach trapped by status hierarchies? This is what a poorly integrated superstar can create. A giant name that ends up shrinking the collective. And when the collective breaks, Madrid suffers, because this club is not built to flatter individuals, but to crush opponents through unity. Even the Galacticos era already proved that simply stacking stars is not enough. Yet the same mistake was made again, believing one superstar would fix everything. A monumental error. Mbappé was meant to be the solution. He has become the symbol of imbalance. He was meant to lead big nights. Too often he has become the subject of excuses. He was meant to carry the club. Sometimes it has looked like the club is carrying him. And the fans see everything. They see effort without reward, matches without leadership, lost trophies, and constant marketing of the Mbappé dream. But Real Madrid does not buy dreams, it builds reality. If La Liga is lost, if the cup is gone, if the Super Cup is gone, if Europe wavers without certainty, then you cannot look away from responsibility. Yes, directors share blame. Yes, coaches share blame. Yes, other players have disappointed. But the face of the project, the central sporting figure, was Mbappé. So the first judgment naturally falls on him. That is the price of greatness. You cannot demand the crown and reject the courtroom. You cannot accept praise without criticism. What angers supporters is not just the lack of trophies. It is the feeling of having been misled, promised a competitive monster. They sometimes see a star more concerned with image than urgency. Promised a dynasty, they see doubt. Promised European fear, they see fragility. Promised leadership, they are still searching for it. Being a great player is not enough at Real Madrid. You need a special rage, an obsession, a mentality that refuses failure. Some legends treated defeat like a national tragedy. Today, too many losses feel absorbed, explained, softened. That is why anger grows. Because Real Madrid must never get used to losing. Mbappé still has time to change the narrative. He still has the talent to silence criticism through decisive goals, major trophies, and true leadership. But until that happens, until Real Madrid stop ending seasons empty-handed with him as their central figure, many will continue to say that these trophyless seasons carry his mark. Because at the top, glory may be shared, but responsibility is shared too.